This is not a drill, we actually have confirmation of Dark Knight skill reworks to Living Dead. Oh yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have some actually quite meaty pieces of information to cover. And yes, Machinist isn't forgotten and White Mage isn't forgotten. I'm just gonna get that out at the start of the video because I know if I just say one without the others, yeah. Oh yeah, Dragoon's also on the table too. So this is going to be part 2 of the live letter information, which is the question and answer period, which might on the surface might not interest everyone when it comes to things like lore questions, but there are way more than just lore questions, and that is really what this video is focused on. Because if I try and combine those two, the video length exceeds 20 minutes, so we're separating them. This is the not lore questions. So the disclaimer that I need to say is that this is an 8-minute long or about there condensed video. It depends how fast I can speak, and the question and answer period was well over an hour long. If you want all of the details, please refer to the main broadcast. There are going to be timestamps that I'm going to put on the screen somewhere, but I will do my best to summarize the key points here. I also will have rough transcriptions of what was said that I did by hand myself, so there may be some mistakes because after a full day of work and oof, the videos that I did before and all that, point is I tried and I redid the video for these transcriptions, so I hope that this is going to help people if they want to quickly scan what was said. I tried, guys, I really tried. But now into the questions, and first up was, during the development process, what part of Endwalker was Yoshi P really perfectionist about? And really, I'm not doing it much service here, but this was a very lengthy, well thought out answer that covered a lot of different points. There was a lot of emphasis on things like the character's eyes, where they were looking, and it just being more than just turning the chin to indicate where their gaze was. Motion and time between dialogue and motions at the start of character speech was the first focus. The trick of it was that what is a natural way to convey expression, and then for pacing it was about letting the characters process as well as the audience. Things like dialogue would not just be like ba 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 ba. Instead it would be like, okay, someone said something, the characters process, you process it, and then they move on. This kind of pacing mentality also extended into their philosophy about instance content and quests that were available for a user to do. Rather than just bombard you with a million different quests, they would just give it at certain particular points in time, depending on things like, is the final day started? Is it not? Is it gonna be over? Another thing that was a focus was ensuring that there was no misleading foreshadowing in the game that could deceive players and make them think, wait, you foreshadowed this but you're wrong. So that was definitely a focus to get rid of that. And then Hydaelyn's entire design and character was also closely watched. That was an understatement because there were references to amounts of art and everything, so understatement. Second question was spicy as heck, not gonna lie. It kind of boils down to, oh my god, healers are boring. And healers are currently putting out too much healing and compared to damage, and then tanks being able to clear pandemonium, and just are there thoughts to make healers more vital to parties and do more than just the basic damage spam? I tried to condense the question because it was long too. But the answer to this question was that similar to last expansions, that a first raid tier is intentionally easier than others. Comparing E12S to this tier is a bit unfair. A goal of this is to get people really into the raid scene, and especially with the new jobs, the Sage and the Reaper, so as well as obviously most jobs got some refresh to their skills, and so the goal is to make it very inviting to people. Yoshi P also encouraged anyone wanting to play as a quote-unquote proper healer and finding it too easy to really try ultimate content and suffer. Oh no, that's me. The last question was talking about the gaze, and I'm just yes, I'm the gaze. Sorry, I'm being stupid now. I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta do the stupid to keep going. The third question was, Dark Knight's Living Dead and Blood Weapon are more difficult to use effectively compared to other tank skills, and are there plans to adjust this? And to say the least, the answer involved way more than just the Dark Knight. Yoshi P mentioned that yeah, Living Dead for sure is getting an adjustment in 6.1, and that they have also taken in feedback with both Machinist and White Mage, which, thank god, that to say the least, that makes me immensely, massively happy, because I was very concerned, especially about the Machinist. White Mage is still obviously clearing, still very viable, still doing great. Please don't chuck your piety stones at me for saying that. You guys are not dying. You guys are still pumping it. You guys are still awesome. Oh god, that was a few piety stones. Ow, that hurt. Point is, you guys are going to be helped, and trust me, I am on board for the White Mage's MP concerns at the very least being addressed. But for me, my heart with the Machinist, oh my god, it was breaking. Seeing them talk about Machinist was thank goodness. Next thing is that they were talking about even Dragoons, and specifically they were talking about animation locks with the jumps, and that those were going to be eased, and that it's more than just numbers that are on the table to be modified. The feel and gameplay of a particular job is also being looked into, as well as even other jobs that weren't specifically mentioned here were were being looked at, and so not to worry, lots of different things are on the radar. Question 4 is that now that we have Sage and Reaper jobs, will you be increasing the number of Glamour plates? Girl, before there was Sage and Reaper, I want more Glamour plates. No. I kid, but I would have phrased that question different. But the answer is that there are a lot of systematic obstacles in the way of just giving everything to everyone at once, like all of the different plate options and storage space, and use them everywhere, just to name 3 of the things that they brought up. There is for sure an increase to how much you can store and how many places that you can use the Glamour plates in 6.1, and other features will depend on where they can possibly fit them in 6.1 schedule. Question 5 was asking, will we be able to obtain gear such as Imperial officers' armor and uniforms, Garlean gunblades, Imperial coats, and Sharlayan Forum members' uniforms in the future? Short version is Garlean is for sure on the table. Nothing was mentioned about things like the Sharlayan Forum member uniforms, however, but that might be on the table too, but they didn't say anything. Garleans, though, they said, yeah, that's on the table. Now, question 6 was asking if we will be able to obtain Orchestrion scrolls of this special Garlemald radio song with the distortion that we hear during the Endwalker MSQ. They have versions with the distortion and without the distortion that will be added, but the initial one that we're going to see first is that's going to come in 6.1 is going to be the distorted one. Question 7 was asking about housing in Sharlayan or the moon, and it was kind of a hilarious answer, not gonna lie, but the answer was that they would love to, but they just can't keep up with all the demands for housing, and that they are adding the housing system to get in there, and the new Ishgardian housing, and it's not like they don't want to do it, but these systems it's just a rather significant undertaking. Question 8 was asking if we're getting minions for MXL, Xenos, Hades, and the answer was they are hesitant to add minions for characters whose role is not completed in the story. And am I being optimistic in that there's no minion for these characters, meaning that their roles aren't up then? I digress, that's my own silliness popping up, but I want more MS. Also, they did say that Xenos' minion might not be the best idea because he's just gonna follow you everywhere. Not gonna lie, I laughed. Now the final question, question 9, is there are any updates for female ROTHGAR, and the short version is yes, they are working on it and making progress and have come down to 2 design styles that they are very happy with. It will likewise take time to make that into a tangible creatable character. The answer delved deeper into the design philosophy, and I want to bring that up here and just quote Yoshi P. Well, quote what I transcribed from there, so it's not a direct quote. So Yoshi P roughly said, there are also people saying, but probably not that many people will play as a female ROTHGAR. But I'm thinking we've come this far and it's not really a matter of will they be super popular. It's not like everyone needs to play all races equally. So people decide what character to play for a lot of different reasons. Some people focus on the inside or the outside, and some people may play a lot of this type of character or not that type of character, and that's what gives the world a lot of flavor and variety, especially because we're aiming to be a game that you can play solo or with friends. To be honest, we're not overly focused on, oh, everyone will play this equally, as long as everyone is having a good time. Okay, end my rough translation trying to quote thing, which my perspective and take on this is this is honestly super refreshing and really beautiful for me as a player to read. I know I play ROTHGAR, and I'd actually be super duper incredibly sad and bummed out if they were some reason no longer an option. I need to swap, I don't know, to a cat boy. A cat boy is not what I personally identify with anymore. For me, that'd be a huge bummer, and so I am very freaking thankful for this design philosophy, to say the absolute least. Oh god. So that does it for the summary wrap up. What do you guys think? Any answers surprised you? Anyhow, that's it for this video. Take care everyone. Time to get to editing, getting it up, and then I am crashing in bed for the next day. Okay, probably 3 days. I am so tired.